Good morning on Bitcoiners United. I have Doug. He is the author of Getting Off Zero, which is available at gettingoffzero.com. That is a book that is not just for beginners' guide to Bitcoin. It is a beginner's sprint into Bitcoin. So it's not your regular little guidebook. Hopefully it's an inspiration and a push to DCA. Doug is a 9 to 5 worker and a grinder like I am, sharing simple Bitcoin guidance for beginners to build themselves up, reminding everybody that you're not alone. There's a way out. Doug has been there, like many of us have been there, are there right now, and you found Bitcoin. So you share what you learn. You're on X, you're on Substack. In your book, you share practical tools to stack, secure, and grow your Bitcoin. So not just the theory about it, but how to take practical action. So Bitcoin is our world. Doug, Happy New Year's Eve, by the way. We are at block height. Where are we right now? Block height 930,279, it looks like. So how are you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. People often feel perpetually late. Even as I will say, I've said this many times, we're all early. We're all so early. You can see it in the grind we've had, the ups and downs. It's volatile. And as it grinds away, you can't help but look at the fiat price. And it feels like Bitcoin in one way is kind of spring-loaded and ready as big players position themselves. Meanwhile, we stay humble and stack sats, but I feel like 2026 could be a big year for all of us in many ways. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I think we're teed up for some great things. It seems like a lot of different variables and factors in the market right now that have positioned us to really make some moves. Some of the bears are out there saying that we're going back into a bear market, going back down, and I don't see it happening. I think there's just too many things at play right now. Corporate treasury adoption, nation state players coming on. In the ETFs, you have gold and silver ripping. I think it's a canary in the coal mine. I think
I agree.
We're teed up for a big year next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's easy to look at, and I try not to be monkey brain, fiat brain, number go up, bro, because why we Bitcoin is much deeper than that. It's an entire systemic view on what is money and our time preference. And that said, I always am curious to try to decipher what is happening in the Bitcoin space generally. What's happening as large companies, and be that nation states, treasury companies, the ETFs, like you said. I feel like there's a lot of big forces at play that have been evaluating Bitcoin for a long time. And the innovators, the early adopters are all still just getting in it, but it's hardly begun. But you see various larger entities, banks and Michael Saylor's out there pushing steadily. I see more and more of these big players.
Larry Fink, you got, BlackRock. That's, he did a complete 180 in the course of like a couple of years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's saying something.
And whether they just concede to a better strategy or just bend the knee and say, yeah, we were wrong on Bitcoin, just month by month coming up, or some random day, it could be like another big name, another big player announces something, and any one of these events could really send things soaring. I feel a double-edged sword about like when the value of Bitcoin and fiat goes up, I feel validated, like, oh yeah, this is what I was sort of presuming to happen. I'm just less patient about it. And yet when it stays down, I feel like I can still stack well. So when it goes down, I'm like, oh, cheap sats.
Right.
When it goes up, I'm like, oh, it's validating. Either way, I feel like people can set goals for themselves. Like I want to get to a certain goal. Like you reached a certain goal milestone for yourself this year in terms of stacking what you could. And if someone made a goal of like, well, oh, it's kind of expensive, there's unit bias. It's like, I want to get a Bitcoin. Well, with the price, that could just, you could be chasing that forever and never get there because the price could get away from you. So it is good to be mindful to stay humble and just keep stacking sats. Um, Sweet Biddy is joining us this morning. She just says good morning to us. Happy New Year's Eve.
Morning.
Happy New Year's Eve, Biddy. So thanks for joining us today. She reposted our stream as well. So thank you. So you're like I do. You can call it 9 to 5. Sometimes for me, it's like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But you've got your family. You've got a Bitcoin side hustle or hobbies and things on the side. You've got a daytime job, and you have to attend to your family's economy and budget and grind away. The escape hatch door is open, and we've stepped through it, but it's not like you can just jump ship. A lot of us are like in transition, which is what your book speaks to, right? It's like just staying motivated, taking the best next step, and then keep taking those steps over time, being that it's time in the market, not like timing the market or having some kind of wealth to go all in. We got to stay humble and stack sats. So tell me about the inspiration for your book.
Yeah, well, I really got pulled into Bitcoin through how it all started. I was at my in-laws' lake house,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard my brother-in-law, two brother-in-laws, and my father-in-law talking about Coinbase and Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I was like, "Well, what is this?" And they, I mean, I asked what it was and how to buy it. And I was like, can I get it on my Schwab account? And they're like, no, you have to download Coinbase. And I was like, oh, this sounds sort of scammy. I'm not going to do that. And so I shelved that idea for a while. And then it's 2017. So Bitcoin starts ripping and I start hearing about it more. And I'm like, maybe I need to do this. So I started buying it with no idea of what it really was.
Sure.
And I was buying shit coins. Had Ethereum and all these other random tokens.
I think a lot of us, most of us, dare I say, all of us have been there where you're still learning it. You're just getting on the path, but there's a buffet of stuff, and you're like, well, it all could be very cool, maybe.
Yeah, right. And and to your point about unit bias, even back then, Bitcoin was, I don't know, $1,000 or couple of $1,000 a coin.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was like,
expensive.
oh man, I need to buy, Ethereum and Litecoin. And
Yeah, right.
back,
Cheaper.
oh my gosh, like
I can get more of it.
yeah, but it was a huge unit bias. You hear stories about people putting $100 into Bitcoin in 2010, and they're multimillionaires, and people think that is the reality, and it's
Right.
not anymore. The moonshots are over
Yeah.
with Bitcoin. Like that's just like, you got to get that out of your mind, and you got to understand that if you're trying to get a moonshot and you're hitting a meme coin or some shit coin, it's like, yeah, there's opportunity to make money there if you're an insider,
Right.
or you time it perfectly where you're in reality you're just rugging people, and it's not very ethical. That's not really what I want to be doing, but that's how you hit a moonshot. Bitcoin is now a nice steady way to build. It's savings. So I'll rewind a little bit. So I 9 to 5 wise, I got my degree in geological engineering.
Oh, wow.
I graduated in 2010, and I couldn't find a job to save my life. Like
Mm.
I was putting a suit and tie on, walking in, delivering resumes like in person to engineering firms, and they had just laid off someone with like 15 years experience. They didn't want a zero experience college grad, so I couldn't find a job. I then stepped into working in the mortgage loan originating space.
Uh-huh.
Again, 2010, not very well received in selling mortgages. So
Yeah,
that was
crazy landscape post 2008, and things were so wonky, and a lot of weird chill over the bailouts and the housing
mhm.
market generally. But
So
yeah,
yeah, I was not. Yeah, that was a tough. I did that for a year. Then I stepped into more of a construction industry project management position, and then finally got into a geotechnical engineering firm.
cool.
4 years after I graduated college, I got into an engineering firm.
Nice.
And counter to, I guess, popular belief, engineering consulting is not a super high paying job.
Mm.
You go through a lot of schooling, and college was not a cakewalk for me. It was a lot of all nighters, um, and you're just not making a whole lot of money. The money comes when you get ownership in a firm.
I see.
So I worked really hard for not great pay, with the allure of becoming an owner. That was something that was presented to me early on, like, here's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting, sort of chewed up and spit out, just standard inflation, and watching my peers make substantially more money than me. But I had this opportunity to be an owner in the company. So I was like, this is going to be, it's going to pay off in the long run.
Yeah,
Uh,
investing in a longer term career goal, and yeah, get
right.
established.
So here I am, 10 years, or I was around 8 years in. I finally get ownership, and I was like, I've made it. I'm gonna work here the rest of my career, build a huge position in the company, and it's gonna be great. I had my whole future planned out, um, and 2 months into ownership, we got bought by a private equity company, a roll up.
Mm.
And so that sounds like, oh, that's great. It was great for the people that owned a lot of the company. But for me, with 2 months worth of equity in the company, which there's a buy-in, so I, barely bought in. I think I bought in 10% of my position, and you can, start compounding that as you go, as you pay it off, grow it. I
Uh-huh.
had like, I had this much equity in the company, so it was. Yeah, I made like very little. I made a little. It was better than not having any equity in the company, but it was also like, you look at the time value of money, and going somewhere else and making more money would have, in hindsight, been the better move.
Yeah.
Which, hindsight's 2020. Um, but through that, I stayed on for another 2 years, and this is through COVID. And I went from living a pretty comfortable life, bills paid, drove a nice truck, had, was just comfortable. I wasn't comfortable in the sense that I didn't want more, but everything was going
Doing all right. Yeah.
and the inflation started rolling in the early 2020s, and I was just getting chewed up and spit out. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, that truck note that was very easily paid every month was like, man, this is sort of hurting. Nothing is my salary's the same, all my bills are the same, but things started creeping up, and all of a sudden it was like, this isn't working. So I sold my truck, started selling other things, just like trying to stay afloat. And that's when I realized, I was like, I'm doing everything that everyone has ever told me to do to achieve success, college, job, 401k, try to save, living within my means. And this isn't working. Something's broken here. And I realized it without realizing that Bitcoin was the answer yet, even though I'd bought and held some. And I really started looking into gold, and I started buying gold. And not like, obviously just a little bit, but I was like, I got to do something. Like I'm dying here. Like I've got to preserve wealth somehow, save somehow.
Yeah. How do you save with a broken money? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I was buying gold and silver. And that the algorithm caught on and was like, started feeding some Bitcoin stuff to me. And I really started, I knew enough about Bitcoin, but not like really what it meant and what it was doing. And that shifted gears. I started looking really heavily into Bitcoin, and that changed everything for me. I mean, it was a complete game changer.
Me as well. And, we all heard of Bitcoin long before we figured it out enough to get off zero or start like committing more long-term plans around it. And I think before I found Bitcoin, I was feeling so the 2008 crisis had happened. I was just sort of, you come out of college, you learn to work hard and grind and get through college, and like getting congratulations, you get a degree like that, and you put in a lot of proof of work to get that degree. You come out with a degree. Now I joined the workforce with a degree where I felt like I traded one grind for another, and it was like, well, put in 20, 30 years here and you'll be okay. But you start to feel like, yeah, you're not, maybe you're keeping up, but you're not like gaining like what you thought you might. And even having a long time preference about it. When you do the math, it'd be like, it just seems like, back in the day when a family could survive off a single income, or one of the parents could stay at home, or you could afford a house with that. And now you're looking at a long career of a grind where you're just hoping to retire okay. And then when is that? Are you going to be 60 years old, 70 years old? What does retirement look like? And with what savings and money that's where? I was pretty black-pilled at one point before I found Bitcoin. And like you, I had learned about gold and had started to sort of stack there. But then ultimately it was like, well, I can do that, but how do you use that? So I would want to self-custody it. I was kind of based at the time. So, okay, I'm going to actually hold physical gold and not just have paper, paper broker held ETF or whatever. And
there's gold. A vault in Australia or New Zealand holding my gold. It's like,
right. Don't worry. It's in a vault. And it's like, okay, like trusting a third party. Right. So didn't like it. So I would take self-custody, but then it was like, well, then ultimately, what do I do with this? Like at some point, someday, you hear about it right now with silver, like, oh, silver's up. I have some. I'm going to go sell it. You might go to a broker and they're going to give you like 80%, 70% of spot, maybe.
I'm literally going through that right now, trying to sell the silver I have. And I'm like, oh, look, it's worth this much. And the quote I get on it, and I'm like, oh, wow. All right. I would expect, it at or like get a premium on it. They're like, nope, that's not how it works.
Cost of doing business.
Yeah.
So those things go through your head of like, ultimately, Okay, so say you have a lump amount that you're going to like what cash out into broken money, I guess, or you could get out of debt or whatever, position yourself. But it remains very imperfect. And then or for small transactions, or you want to send it far away very quickly, none of that works.
Mhm.
You might have little coins, and that might work in your community, but it's not a global it's not a decentralized secure protocol. So anyway, Bitcoin fixed all of that for me, and so yeah, I moved on from that and just sort of went all in. But um and then yeah, long term over time, it pays off. When I had unit bias back when, like you said, it was like a few thousand. I'm like, oh, it was kind of expensive. And then it was like in the teens or 20s. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's kind of expensive. And it went up and it went down, back down into like 16,000 or whatever. And when you write it up and you write it down, and when you get through all that and get over all that, you start to kind of get and reconcile, why am I still in this? Oh, it's not just number go up, or when moon or whatever, I'm going to time it. Over time, you start to understand some of the ethics of money itself and the system that we have right now. Um, so, at what point did you decide to write a book?
So I actually wrote that book a year ago, right around this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I was working for a M&A advisory doing oil and gas transactions, and the job wasn't going great. It was, yeah, not a great fit, and
Some jobs can be like that.
yeah, I just left another one that wasn't a great fit too.
Yeah.
But however, I was writing that book this time last year, and where that came from was me seeing a gap in the market with literature on Bitcoin. So I had read all the famous books, Bitcoin Standard, Broken Money, the whole library, and they were, I mean, unbelievable books, but they all followed a very similar theme. It is the history of money, um, lesson on economics, uh, fiat destruction, how Bitcoin fixes it, and a lot of like more technical, you know, economics and mechanics of Bitcoin,
Uh-huh.
which is fascinating to me. I love it. And,
It's an incredible technology, that's for
yeah,
sure.
but there was nothing. So I had recommended, a few of my friends said, like, you don't sleep on Bitcoin. Like, you gotta look at this. Oh, okay. And I'm like, read the Bitcoin Standard. They read it and they're like, wow, that was impressive. How do I buy it? And I was just
Yeah,
like,
now what?
yeah, yeah.
What
And
do I
they're
do?
like, and they still had so many questions, like
Sure.
just so many, and things that you and I would say are just so basic, that but for someone that knows nothing, it's super overwhelming coming into
Mhm.
this space because it's something completely unknown and new. There's been so many different scams and, you know, things going on in the industry that have scared people away. So they're like, I'm going to lose all my money if I do this. So I actually started looking for for books. Like, I wonder if there's anything out there that teaches you how to safely and securely and confidently allocate into Bitcoin.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't find anything. And I was like, there's a gap. This
Uh-huh.
is a gap I can fill, because I'm not the most, like, yeah, I got my degree in engineering, geological engineering. I I had to work really hard. I had to take
Right.
classes multiple times. Um, and so I'm not, some just super technical person. So I had to learn all this stuff the hard way. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and I learned it on my own slash, through YouTube, X,
Mm-hmm.
and all the books that I've read and articles I've read, so and podcasts. So, but I went through it like I started at scratch. I don't have like friends that are into it, so I
Uh-huh.
had to like I got interested, and I had to really like educate myself through all the resources out there. And this book really is a way for people to consolidate a lot of the information that's out there. It's
I'm
it's
going to
like,
throw it up on screen here real quick.
yeah,
Getting Off Zero. You can go to gettingoffzero.com. It'll take you to a site where you can get the book.
yeah, that's my Gumroad account. There's also, you can get it on Amazon. Um, so you can get a paperback on Amazon, and then the ebook you can get on Gumroad. There's a Kindle version on here. But yeah, it's really it it doesn't dive deep into anything. If you want more information, there's resources to get that information. This is really a guide. This is meant to guide, and I got some really helpful advice, and which I sort of touched on earlier. Um, Brian Dement, who wrote Bitcoin Evangelism, uh, I was talking with him, and I was like, "Yeah, I gave him outline. Like, he helped review my outline and talking to him about the book." And he's like, "Man, just there's so many Bitcoin books out there. You got to
Hmm.
make sure that this one's different, because there's so many that they're great, but they're all, like I said, they follow a very similar path." Um, and he was like, make it short, make it concise. It doesn't have to be a 300 page book. Like, that's how you can set yourself apart. So that was
Yeah.
really helpful.
People can get overwhelmed. Like you're a smart guy, and congrats on having written a book and pushed and promoted into the space. It started, I believe, did you start with like a 15, 16 page like guidebook, and then it turned more into a longer book?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely progressed.
Mm-hmm.
And even with different folks in the space, AA Stack, he's, was super helpful in reviewing all my stuff.
Nice.
And there's sections of the book that was like, oh yeah, like I got to touch on this. So it definitely got longer
It can
as
start
I
to
went.
grow on you, like, oh, there's this, oh, there's
Yeah.
that, oh,
And there's
oh, there's all the things.
Oh yeah, it was so it definitely it grew wings, and is longer than I even initially, and it was initially, I was going to just do an ebook. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't even going to have a physical copy. Um, but I really, as the book grew, I thought it'd be nice to have something physical that people can hold.
Totally. And when I've orange pilled people, or over the years, and when you first start being willing to like orange pill people or talk about it, and I would catch myself, people being open or curious, or you bring it up and they're not against it, and I would just get on these big monologues about all the things, like you should be as excited as I am or whatever, and they can kind of be like, okay, that's like
Yeah,
it's too much. Or I get into the tech, or I get into the economy, or I get into the deep state, and all the things, and you can quickly jump the shark with somebody where they're like, okay, I'm not that smart.
yeah,
They can feel overwhelmed, or like, well, you're smart, I'm not like that, and I'm like, I'm not. Like, I guess you, like me, we're a lot of Bitcoiners are kind of like what you call like autodidactic, where you're capable of pursuing knowledge and truth and learning on your own, and then applying it and sorting out a bit of reality like on your own without being told what to do. Others definitely need that help, or maybe a mentor. And then you find yourself like repeating yourself again and again and again, person by person, like, like kind of where are they at? What do they need? Oh, they're starting from nothing. And you start simple. Okay, get this, do that. And then once you're there, then there's another step. And then kind of once you're there, there's another step. And then, oh, there's another step, but you don't want to overwhelm them.
Mhm.
So when you have a guidebook or like a book, one, you're not having to like repeat and repeat and repeat yourself or invest tech support for people forever. You can refer back to something tangible, a reference, a guide, and it provides like that compass of direction for people. What I like to show here is that your subtitle here, a beginner's sprint into Bitcoin, because some people are willing to start, but then they kind of falter in knowing what else to do. Or, well, like, when do I buy? How often do I buy? Do I have to keep thinking about this or paying attention to it? Like, I got off zero. I guess I'm not going to get rich. I don't know. When am I a millionaire?
Yeah.
But you focus a lot on DCA. Is that right? Like,
Yep.
if not daily, but something regular.
Sure. Yeah. And just because for the average everyday person, there's a million ways to skin a cat. And,
Mm-hmm.
For the average person that has a 9 to 5, a family, has all the things, putting stuff on autopilot
Yeah.
just takes the pressure off. You don't have to
Yeah.
think about it. And to set something like that up early and often, weekly, and that gets people, you get skin in the game, and you
Uh-huh.
start paying attention. Or if you're not paying attention, you look up in a year and you go, oh, wow, that's awesome. Like, look at that. And then, yeah, eventually you will pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's all about like skin in the game. Like you're not going to learn on the sidelines. You have to learn by doing. Um, yeah, it's really just focusing on, what's right for the person at whatever stage they're in. It's like
Yeah.
DCA can be the end all be all strategy for you, or it may just be a small part of your overall strategy.
Yeah, some people aren't used to the feeling of investing because they're so used to a fiat dollar that just melts or burns a hole in their pocket, and that fiat has made all of our incentives upside down.
Mhm.
So just getting someone willing to like have the idea of like investing in the future, that's super important. And where I was for a long time was like, oh, if I'm going to invest, and I know people to this day and years ago where they would invest, but they were looking at the stocks and looking at their portfolio and cringing when it was down and celebrating when it was up, and it was just this roller coaster of like, oh, and imagining things in 10 years and retirement, whatever. When you just DCA, it helps short circuit that concern over time preference. And you can just be like, I got skin in the game. I'm trusting time. And I don't have to look at the price all the time. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. The roller coaster ride, I believe, goes up perpetually as it has. And, but you don't have to worry about it with your fiat monkey brain. You can just say, I got skin in the game.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And I also tell people, like, when they get off zero, I'm like, do not look at the price day by day. Don't even look at it for a month. If you can just know that you're not going to sell unless the reasons you bought it change, some weird fundamental reason, hold it for, just think you're going to hold it for a cycle, like hold it for 4 years. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it for a year. Just leave it alone. Don't overthink it. You're not going to outsmart the market. You're not going to outtime the market. I'll also tell people too, just when you have unit bias, it's easy to be like, oh, ooh, I got like 0.001 Bitcoin. Woo! I just say, you know what? People thought that when it was like, oh my gosh, it's $100. Ooh, I can get 3 Bitcoin. Whoop de doo.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, imagine, if you will, you buy your sats. You're like, well, I contributed something. I bought $10 of Bitcoin, 50, $100 of Bitcoin. What I'll do as well is I'll look at the sats and I'll just imagine in some future, maybe it's for my kids, but dollar sat parity.
Yes.
I will just
Yes.
sort of imagine that and be like, you know what? I'm a sat millionaire, so
Yeah,
I feel all right.
that's right. I do that. I do the same exact thing when I do a little micro buy. I'm like, oh, it's $10. Yeah, but I'm like, oh, but look how many sats I got. You know.
Yeah, every little drip now is an ocean later.
Mhm.
So I also what helped orange pill me, and I think it started with me when I made that turn to I I haven't just heard of Bitcoin. I want to learn about it. I think it was Michael Saylor, just as a dynamo force years ago when he figured it out the way he did some years ago and was just on all the podcasts. And I heard him on Breed Love, and that was like 2019. And I listened to the whole Saylor series.
Yeah.
I started with the what is money question, and then I just luckily randomly heard Saylor. And I listened to the beginning of the first, like episode 1 of that, and then had to finish it. And then I listened to like all of it. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was all starting to come together for me. And so podcasts are a great way for me to stay not just mindful and motivated, but educated. And as things change and I navigate the space, it kind of keeps me fresh in my mind about what's going on in the world, and to not feel out of the loop at all.
Mhm.
Biddy mentions here in a comment, she says, definitely check out Bitcoin Nova. I
Mhm.
believe she's referring to the Bitcoin Army podcast with Stacy, X Stacy on X. She's got a regular, pretty prolific podcast with a lot of the Bitcoin Army folks. So anyway, yeah, I encourage people, hey, find those podcasts you
Mhm.
like. Tune in the background or as you're working or day by day. Thank you, Biddy. Yep, that she says that's correct. Ding, ding, ding. Um, find those podcasts you like. Tune in when you can. You don't maybe catch everything you'd like. There's so much content out there, and I can't keep up on all of it. But find the one that resonates with you, and just tune in here and there, and you just kind of feel connected. And then instead of being that like lone candle in the dark of like I'm the Bitcoiner in my town and like I'm alone, the community is huge. It's very much online. There are podcasters and influencers out there and plebs like you and me who
Mhm.
are doing all the little proof of work steadily, and they may have their own 9 to 5 grind as well, but they're talking about it. It builds that connection. It's very much about human relationships, and not what Bitcoin will do for you, but what we all contribute to Bitcoin as we build our Bitcoin community. So that connection is so important for people, because some people are like, I don't want to be pouring over my money all the time. I don't want to be thinking about my money. If you can get over the hump of money, 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 it resonates at a very deep level in terms of incentives, time preference, what it can do for your family and relationships and everything. So,
Mhm.
uh, yeah. Did you find it changing your life in that direction in terms of your goals, your what kind of a job you might want to get, all kinds of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just made me look to the future. Gave me hope for the future.
Bitcoin's
Uh,
hope.
Short term wise, though, it doesn't. I've got my Bitcoin stack, but it's still, that's my long term plan. It's like short term. It's still, everyone's just getting chewed up and spit out by inflation. So it's still,
Mhm.
and the job market. I'm actually in between jobs right now. I've got a couple of offers, some good looking opportunities that will hopefully come to fruition early, this next year. Um, but it's not an easy time out there for people. A
Yeah.
lot of people are struggling. So it's like, while I have this thing that gives me hope for the future, I'm also in a position where I'm doing anything I can to not sell that hope,
Yeah.
because I want to hold on to it, because that I worked hard to set it aside, which again goes back to, like, fortunately, have a little bit of gold and silver that I'm gonna, I'd much rather sell that than my Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But in the scheme of things, I have Bitcoin, and
Hmm.
if I need it, it's there. It's not ideal. I can earn more money and buy more Bitcoin, probably be at a much higher price, but it's, it is what it is. And I'm fortunate at least to even have that to lean on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Uh, let's see. Biddy asks, see, do you know Bitcoin Sovereign, or are you just rocking his gear? Is that your sweatshirt maybe? Bitcoin
yeah,
Sovereign, is that it?
yeah, I got this. This was a Christmas gift to myself, and I got the
Oh, there you
Mexican
go.
Magician edition. Our friend
Oh, Dirty Hands, Clean
Joshua,
Money.
yeah. So,
The
uh,
Mexican Magician.
yeah, I just know the Bitcoin Sovereign from X. That's
Yes.
not personally. But
Stories
yeah,
like that. Yeah, stories like that. The Mexican Magician. They're inspirational because you see other people out there that dirty hands, clean money is right.
yeah,
You see people out there that you've got a humble job. You've got to work. You got to get up in the morning. You got to get out of bed, tie your shoes, brush your teeth, get the kids to school, what have you, and you got a job.
hmm
And meanwhile, perpetually, you also have that hope and purpose through
hmm
Bitcoin as like why you're doing this. Now, ultimately, your priorities can focus on your family and your quality of life, and Bitcoin helps solve that existential angst that some people, I think, without Bitcoin can feel because you're caught in the fiat um, slide. And and so then once you get on Bitcoin, you can do all the right things as well, and you have that peace of mind. Is oh, okay, yeah, long term, I'm doing the right things, and I'm staying humble and stacking sats. I'm not getting impatient, and yes, you can still function and go to work. Um, uh, I've been in that situation in the past where like a career changes, a career doesn't work out. You're in between jobs, and you might be you might have that time, or you're adrift a little bit for a time where you step back and have to reevaluate a lot of things and think about what am I doing on this earth while I'm here? Like, what do I want to do? And then you don't want to just settle. And at the same time, you're a dad or a husband, and you're a responsible adult, and you have to get your hands dirty sometimes and just
hmm
get out there and do things too. So,
Yeah,
um,
I mean, I'm helping a buddy with a fence building business right now and driving DoorDash and doing whatever I can to,
yeah,
keep the funds coming in. Um, but yeah, I mean, we do what we got to do. Uh,
yeah,
it is what it is, and we'll come out the other side. What I love, I posted something on X yesterday just about hitting my stacking goal, and then now I'm in between jobs, have some prospects out there, but just you know threw that in there, and the amount of support from the Bitcoin community is just like unbelievable. Everyone's just you know sharing their experience, being super encouraging. So I absolutely love the ex Bitcoin community. I think it's just a wonderful group of people that all have each other's back. I've thoroughly enjoyed. I consider some of these folks really close friends, and we've never met in person. It's pretty cool.
yeah. X has been a great public forum, public town square for the Bitcoin community. Joining various communities. There's the daily stacking groups and the Bitcoin Army and others, but it helps connect us all. I was going to mention. So I think here's your post about meeting your Bitcoin stacking goal this year. Congrats, by the way.
Yep.
And so for people out there, whether that was zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin, zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, uh, it's all good. If you set a goal and you can make it, that's an accomplishment. And it's not about unit bias whatsoever. It's what you can do. It's what any of us can do now because we are all so early. I wanted to mention that you are quite prolific actually on X. Here's something that I run into is that, so I've got, and maybe it's the way my brain works, but I've got a daytime regular fiat job, and I will think of a lot of things during the day, or if my job can allow it, which it often doesn't, but sometimes I'll try to listen to things when I can in the background, and my mind will just be going as I kind of multitask.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not very good at being able to have an idea and then feel like I can stop and post something and contribute and say something, or I'll overthink it. I'll get kind of like an imposter syndrome about, oh, I could make a cheesy little comment, or this isn't that insightful. I'm not that much of a genius. And I'll hesitate or then get back distracted again. And I don't post all that much all the time, even as all day thoughts are running through my mind and I'm thinking all kinds of things. But I don't have an organized, disciplined way where I stop and post about it and contribute and add to my feed.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to like have the thought and then move on. And yet you are posting quite a bit. That's one reason I found you. And I love your feed, by the way, because you're quite prolific. You're pumping stuff out there. When you're doing that, it's not like every post is going to hit, but some of them do. Some of them resonate. Some are just, part of the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
But you post and post and post. How do you find that energy?
I use my phone notes when I have like you were talking about. I write stuff down in my notes constantly on my phone. I stop what I'm doing, write it down in my notes, and put my phone down, go back, and I schedule my posts ahead of time. So to where I have a consistent. So I'll do like a time block where I'll get a bunch of posts and then I'll schedule them out. And so that's how I try to stay consistent, because
Smart.
you're right. I'm busy during the
Get busy.
I'll pick up my phone and when I can and make a comment. But for the most part, like I try to schedule things out to stay consistent.
I should just get more organized because you have those time in your day where you'll have that period of time where you can scroll and learn and catch up and you have ideas. And I think what I'm doing wrong is that I'm trying to do it in the moment, steadily in the background all the time and not miss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have your personal little thought journal, schedule them out
or type it down.
Yeah. And then you can block your time out better. Meanwhile, during the day, it's not like what I'll do is like, I'll have like a glut of reposts or a glut of little things. And then it's crickets for half my day.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
There's some things that come to, and I'm like, I got to post this now, but that's on top of, the 3 or 4 scheduled posts that I have for the day. Like, I was up this morning, I don't know, 4:30 doing, content creation before I went for a run. And, times like that where I can get up before anyone in the house is awake, I can get some stuff done. And
nice.
I see is that a running picture in the background?
Yeah. So, Hal Finney.
Okay. I couldn't see that far. I didn't know. Yeah. Okay.
Hal Finney was doing half marathons before he got really sick. Yeah.
Yeah. I have an awesome Hal Finney running Bitcoin shirt where it's Hal Finney's, like, it's a cartoon of Hal Finney's body with a Bitcoin head. It's running. So
I got this at the tail end of the Vegas conference. I was there with MicroSeed, and the booth across from us in the bazaar area was the ALS fundraiser for Fran Finney's organization. Yeah. And they were fundraising and getting word out and organizing runs. And they have a Bitcoin runners group, obviously. And the event had wrapped up. It was the last day of the whole deal. And they were just getting rid of stuff and were literally like, they weren't going to pack everything they'd printed out back home because they were going to update things about it for future fundraisers. And they were just going to throw it away. And I mean, they were literally at the trash can, like getting rid of old paperwork and some random things. And I walked over and I was just like, are you going to just toss that? And they're like, well, we're not going to pack it home. And I'm like, can I have that? Anyway,
Nice.
so I grabbed it. Fran and Hal are running in one
Yeah,
of the,
yeah. I know that picture. I just couldn't see that far. And once you
yeah.
said it, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've got a smart camera, so if I move around, it like it pans on me. So sometimes it's a little too smart, but anyway, good eyes there.
yeah, that's yeah. I'm an avid runner, endurance
Awesome.
athlete. So that's yeah. I love that part about Hal. So
Yeah, I mean, you think about sound body, sound mind, sound spirit, through and through. It's people think about Bitcoin, and when I first talked to them about Bitcoin, and they're thinking just, what am I just obsessed about money? It's like, oh, it runs through and through when it aligns your incentives. I mean, like
yeah,
I'm not a big runner, but it made me really stop and think about my diet, my health, generally, all the things, because like if I'm not healthy, I'm not thinking well, I'm not feeling well. And then literally I'm really just getting through my day job and go home and just want to go to bed,
yeah,
watch TV, go to bed, get up in the morning, like get out of the rut, go out there, do things. Being a runner, I mean, if nothing else, boy, that's a major reset and sets the tone of a day, so you feel better.
no doubt. Yeah, and yeah, it is. It's cool to see the Bitcoin community and how health conscious everyone is. Like you said, you're when Bitcoin gives you hope and hope for the future, and then you start thinking about, you just think long term. You think like, well, I want to enjoy my future. I want to. It just reframes the entire world.
Totally.
It's Saifuddin Ammous, his book I'm listening to right now, the Fiat Standard, and there's a whole chapter on fiat food and
Uh-huh.
how, and I think he even may have written a book, Fiat
There's
Food.
a book, Fiat Food, as well, part of his publishing house. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I just listened to that chapter, and it's like, man, it's fiat has just crept into everything in our
Yeah.
lives, and it makes you really like, makes you think, and
Oh, totally.
it's a good thought exercise for everyone to go through, and once you go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, it opens so many different avenues of thought.
Yeah. There were when I was a little newer to Bitcoin and I was interfacing with some of the stuff out there, like, carnivore diet, seed oils, all these other things. I'm like, what does this have to do? Like, is this just like virtue signaling? Like, I get it, but also like, I didn't get it.
Mhm.
I get it now because the whole, like the food industry, big food and all that, COVID as well woke me up to like big pharma and like follow the money, folks. It goes back to the money, follow the money. And this has been going on for decades. Even just the food industry, you think about like, okay, what the government subsidizes in terms of what's grown or what's then processed and refined, and they end up with byproducts of stuff, and they're like, well, even the cattle aren't going to eat that, but it's a lubricant, or it's digestible, it's a preservative, if you will, or whatever, and they're like, put it in the food.
Yeah.
The sweeteners, the flavors, the colors, the whatever, you don't even know. You look at the ingredients list and you're going, wow, it's not whole food. It's processed amalgamations of stuff
Mhm.
that they can basically, because it's byproduct sometimes of other things, it's cheap. But then it's driven by top-down subsidies of the food, and then
Mhm.
through processing and other things, it's kind of like what can we make that tastes good and is cheap, but nutritionally it's nothing but calories, and a lot of it's really just sugar or carbs, or they've also in the medical industry framed things about fat or other food as like unhealthy. So
Right.
get that fat-free yogurt, but then
It's
what
like,
is it?
oh, yeah,
Or
no, you need
non-dairy
fat.
dairy, and you're like, well, if it's non-dairy dairy, what is it?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I again, before inflation, crept into everything, and really, I'd say before kids, I was really dialed into my diet and athletic performance. And I know most Bitcoiners would just cringe hearing me say this, but I did a plant-based whole food diet,
Hmm.
and had my best athletic performances I've ever had. And I don't think it has to do with, carnivore versus plant-based.
Sure.
I think it's just whole foods.
Yeah,
I think either of those diets, if you do them right, are incredibly have so many health benefits. Uh,
totally.
I personally subscribe to the now after that, a healthy combination of the both. Um, but it's really just about whole foods. And
Yeah.
even in training and racing for me, finding the different um, um, products out there, like Scratch, for instance, is a electrolyte mix for runners,
Okay.
cyclists, and it's more of a whole food type electrolyte mix made from like real fruit for the flavoring,
Okay.
and there's a couple different gels and that you can eat that are made from like real fruit versus like one of the podcaster calls it astronaut food, the juice, the goos and gels that are just
Okay.
like made in a lab somewhere. It's like you're just it's the same thing. It's just a bunch of chemicals versus eating taking a banana or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or the wafers made out of real whole foods. So, or
And
honey, they make honey stinger gels where you're taking honey versus like something else.
yeah, and even just that simple step of like the food may be very familiar and simple, like like you said, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but a lot of peanut butter you get out there, you realize it's preservative, hydrogenated, like processed type oil, and you're
Right.
looking for like you'd think peanut butter might like the ingredient in peanut butter might be like peanuts.
Yeah.
And actually, like a lot of peanut butter is hydrogenated soy or whatever else to,
Right.
and then with peanuts in it, or even and sugar. Really, a lot
Yeah.
of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, whatever. Um, and so everybody's body is different, and I mean there are high performing athletes, triathletes who are vegan,
Yeah,
have been vegan.
that's so I was a big triathlete.
Wow.
That was like my thing. And then once I had kids, I've just been more of a runner, just
Hmm.
because of time. But I spent over a decade doing triathlon. Was a sub elite, like a high performing amateur,
Uh
um,
huh.
and traveled around the world to compete. So especially around the U.S. So, but yeah, there's a lot of vegan athletes, and it's again it goes back to inflammation reduction and just eating whole foods. And when you're an athlete at a high level, like carnivore isn't really doable. Like you need
Right.
carbs, you need to restore glycogen. Like that's the name of the game.
Yeah, if you're running, you need that energy quick, like that day or that hour, sometimes.
Uh, absolutely.
Yeah, I've known Bitcoiners that were very health conscious. I know health conscious Bitcoiners who, tried carnivore and it just wasn't for them, and they switched over to more fully vegetarian. I've known others that went very vegetarian, realized I don't know what it is. I haven't figured it out. I need some more meat. So they incorporate meat. I'm not prescriptive when it comes to that, but the one thing about it, like you said, it's not so much maybe like the type of the energy source as it is the quality, health, whole food element of that.
Hmm.
Whether it's a diversity or carnivore works for you.
Hmm.
As long as you're still just you're paying attention to your body. How does it make you feel? It's not like, well, I'm just going to do this just cuz and stick to it
Yeah,
and ignore how I'm feeling. Um,
exactly.
people's bodies change. You might change your health habits. You might start exercising more, or you might exercise less, and your body's going to change. You're going to need different stuff, but you got to get those nutrients, and hopefully they're, macros and micros and all the things. So yeah, it's not a straightforward, like, just do this and you're fine.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Right.
Now you're also very prolific. I'll pop it up here. You have Substack, and
Right.
you've been writing a lot of articles. So like when you have extra inspiration and time to write, you've got articles up. You just put one up earlier today or this morning about silver. Nothing resets at midnight. Silver is proof. You've written a number of articles here. People can subscribe to you on Substack.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, it's just a free subscription on Substack. Just trying to produce some content that helps educate people. It's geared. It's for everyone. But I'm trying to make it very follow the theme of my book, and cater to people that are looking to start allocating, or beginners into the Bitcoin space.
Nice. So yeah, people can follow you and keep up on developments, things happening recently, like silver and gold have been in the news lately. And these are your continuing thoughts, building upon your book, and as you go forward, continuing to learn, and as you learn and you write stuff down, you're contributing steadily. So
Right.
and just the process itself, just producing something. Like for some people, it might be making videos or making art or writing stuff down, posting on X, combination of various stuff. Being engaged is what's important. Is that it doesn't matter so much what you're doing or that you're doing it just right. It's the very fact that you're doing it. You're simply doing it. And I can read or listen so much and learn, but when you kinesthetically do it, you're incorporating that knowledge. And it's sort of like, you can learn something, but until you've like tried to teach someone that, you realize how much you had to really still process and know fully. So for you, I imagine it's a process of continual self-development and learning as you go as well, because you're paying attention and then you're putting it out there.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. It's a creative outlet for me. And I actually was a artist, in the sense that, like, I did pencil drawings for on and off my whole life, and so I always had sort of that creative outlet. Maybe
That's
I'll
cool.
post some of my drawings on X. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And but it's also, the continual education. Like, I love teaching people. I love learning and sharing what I've learned with others, and I've always done that verbally. And sure, family and friends are sick and tired of me preaching the gospel.
You're still talking about Bitcoin.
but yeah, it's super helpful. It fits with who I am. I like talking to people. I like meeting people. I like helping people. And so that sort of rounds out everything, as well as a creative outlet for me.
That's great. And then I will also, let's see, on your website here, I also see that you do some consultation. People can contact you and get advice and guidance. So whether they've read the book or not, or they need that extra step,
Right.
what you're offering here as well is that for people that are, maybe, it says here, overwhelmed by noise, hype, conflicting advice, you're offering person-to-person education and coaching, not financial advice, but not, avoiding hype, price predictions. It's not prescriptive in terms of not financial advice, folks, but basically practical guidance that you can actually use. So this is an offering you have.
It's basically a coaching session.
Yeah.
And that was born from a colleague of mine who had he had been buying some. I orange pilled him, but he was buying a little bit here and there on Cash App. But he kept saying, like, man, we got to sit down. I want to go, like, he bought the book. But he was like, man, I just want to sit down and just help. I need help getting all of this sort of like framed out and figured out. So, and I had a couple of other folks that I've been helping coach as well that are trying to get their Bitcoin universe set up, understand it. And so that was born out of people approaching me for guidance and help. And it does come with a copy of the book. So, if you book a call, you get a copy of the book, and there's, clear deliverables that I will give. And also, like there's a pre-call survey that gives me some direction on where I want to take the call. But it's really, I'm sure most of your listeners are past this point.
You never know.
Yeah. However, a lot of your listeners may have someone who's looking to get in, and they don't really have the time to sit down with them, and they can direct people my way, because that's what I want to do, is help get newbies into Bitcoin and take the time to spend with them.
That's awesome. And helping others. I've met plenty of, presumably Bitcoiners. I've met people like, oh yeah, no, I like Bitcoin. I'm into Bitcoin. And I'm, if I get into a conversation like, oh, like, how do you do that? What do you do? And they don't really know. They have Coinbase, or I downloaded this app and I put it there once, and that was it. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. That's good. And I recommend you take self-custody. What is that? Well, like, so where is that Bitcoin? Well, it's on my account. Okay, where's that?
Yeah.
Well, it's with Coinbase. Okay. So they have your Bitcoin. At their grace, they might let you have it back, or only in dollars, like dollars in, dollars out. I mean, maybe, right. I mean, it's not like you can just transfer it necessarily, or depends on the exchange. But some people feel like, no, I'm a Bitcoiner, and they need more help. Or I say, you got to take self-custody. Oh, why? Oh, well, for a lot of reasons.
FTX, box, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, I don't want to be cynical about it. At the same time, government's going to government, and 6102 type of tax, or, oh, you can put it on, but for good reasons, plausible reasons, you can only take 1,000 down a week. Well, no, call that 500. Well, 100. Well, I mean, they don't want to let go of their Bitcoin. They want to have your money in it while they do whatever the hell they might do and rehypothecate, or who knows. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's a good company and they're based, and, maybe you can trust them, that can also change.
Right.
So
right.
Depends on business.
That's right.
So anyway, I just tell people, take self-custody, run a node. Mm-hmm. What's a node?
Yeah.
Well, these things are important to Bitcoin. It's not the dollar or the number go up. It's a network. It's a protocol. We want it decentralized. We want it secure. We want it here forever for our grandchildren. So, there may be people that might watch a podcast like this or others, and they might think they like Bitcoin, or they're a Bitcoiner, mm-hmm. but they're new. And I don't judge that at all. It's just everyone has a path. And the further you walk it, the more you realize, like, the wider the radius of my knowledge expands, the wider also the circumference of that circle of what I don't know on the edges grows.
Wow.
So you learn. And as I learn, I'm like, wow, there's a whole area that I have yet to learn. So people will say, oh, you're an expert. I'm like, there is no expert.
Right.
Yeah, like, or you understand Bitcoin. It's like, I don't know if anyone understands Bitcoin, but
yeah,
we can all do better. So.
that was, for me, the imposter syndrome of
Yeah.
writing a book, on Bitcoin when there's just so many brilliant minds in the space, like just unbelievably smart people. And I'm sitting here like, to my friends, I'm like the smartest guy in Bitcoin.
Yeah, right.
You
Oh,
know,
you're a
and
genius. It's
yeah,
like,
it's like, oh my God, like that's unbelievable. You should like, and I'm like, you don't like, I'm just a pleb, but
I'm a pleb.
but that's also where where the book comes from. It's like this is a book by a pleb for a pleb. It
Yeah.
is, and I've gotten some kind affirmation on like, dude, you're the perfect person to write the book. So
Yeah.
it is there's so much out there, there's so much knowledge, and to the next person, to the beginner, we are like the most incredibly brilliant person they've ever met, because it's so different than anything they've ever experienced. But to us, there's just a million people further, deeper
Yeah.
into the space than we are.
Yeah, and a lot of names or more prominent people you'd imagine that are out there that you see, and they're like, oh, they're all this and that and the other, and you put them up on a pedestal. Not to say that, I mean, there are geniuses in the Bitcoin space that are tiers above where my brain can function, and I all respect to that. Like, I am not a genius. That said, there are a lot of people out there that are simply plebs like you and me who go out there and do things. And those who go out there and do things, and or create a presence of any kind, you elevate yourself and promote others. And a rising tide raises all ships. You can basically suddenly become a person that people are attracted to or inspired by. And at the same time, you could be doing that for a while and feel like, I'm really just a pleb, but I've just learned to also do things. so, so you too can go out there and do things. I'm wondering if, let me just bounce this off you, see if this resonates at all. But so I got a degree in computer science, and then I'm like, I'm the computer science expert or whatever. And it's sort of like if you're a plumber and you're doing plumbing all day, and then you go home and you don't want to do plumbing once you're back at home, or you don't want your mom calling you about her plumbing issues all the time. You're kind of like, that's my job. When I would orange pill people, and I'd be talking about Bitcoin stuff, and then it's kind of like tech support. Oh, computers. Can you help me with every single little problem that I ever have for the rest of my life, because I'm a boomer and I can't like remember shit? Well, you could volunteer your time for sure. When you're orange pilling people, I would help people out. I'd get them, like, maybe get them just aware, get them off zero, get them into maybe a better custodial wallet, and then maybe get them self custody, and then maybe all the things. But along the way, you can find yourself. I would have people that genuinely were trying to learn, and or was a friend or an acquaintance, but it can take a lot of your time. And then you can find yourself doing like tech support or like consulting or like financial support, not financial advice, and you get entangled with all kinds of things around their relationship with their money and their Bitcoin. And it can get funny, or it can be a never-ending rabbit hole of support. And so by writing a guidebook, by writing a book, you can kind of say, like, I can't do your day-to-day tech support for free. I have a book, or I have a guidebook. And then, like, really, I mean, as a professional, as you go from being like kind of hobbyist to journeyman and professional, it's like, hey, if you really want help, they can go to your website and say, hey, no, I'm at a level where I will help, but I don't work for free. Or your circle grows, and you can do it for some people or for closer circles, but not just for anybody. It's worth something. And so you've recognized that it's, people can feel funny about charging for a service and like, well, who am I? Or, oh, is it worth this? But legitimately, hey, if it's important to somebody, your time is valuable. So you're respecting your time and you're setting boundaries with your skills.
Right. Yeah,
So
and it is it's I have some other plans in the works for next year regarding longer term help
mhm,
for clients, and looking forward to unrolling that in
cool.
2026. But yeah, it is. It's you know I'm not sure who said it. I think it was Rajat Finance on X, because he charges for consulting calls, and people have given him some grief
Oh,
about.
you're trying to make money?
Yeah, and he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, he was like talking. He's like, look, if someone pays me X amount of dollars for an hour of my time, and I speed run them to get them to a place where they're allocating more money or confidently into Bitcoin, thereby making them more money. Like, I think that's worth every bit of it. Like
Yeah.
it is. What is okay if you don't want the resources are out there.
Hmm.
You can learn it all on your own.
Yeah.
I don't. You probably don't want to know how many hours that I've spent learning it,
Exactly.
but this is how if you want to speed run that learning curve and get someone that's been there and done that, and that can tell you or guide you exactly. Yeah, that costs a little. There's a cost to that.
Exactly.
So
The information is out there. If you want to go learn on your own, have at it. It is free. You can go learn.
that's how I
Um,
did it.
and that's what we did. And we
Uh,
put in the hours. Talk about untold, like countless hours that over years that I just was a psychopath and I just studied and learned and read books and listened to podcasts. And so that was my choice. And so now I know stuff. So
yep.
like, yes, I could change the oil on my own car or change the brakes or, oh, my lawnmower's having issues. I can dig into it and spend the time and learn if I want to. And if I don't want to, I will pay to have it done. And I respect that. I actually value that because someone who knows how or can save me time or save me grief or can just, maybe it's worth it for whatever reason, it's worth someone else doing work. It's not like, well, the information is free. Why don't they do it for free? Well, yeah, why don't you do it for free yourself? My time is valuable. So anyway, I totally respect it. I think you're putting yourself out there. You're prolific in the space between X and your Substack, writing the book, doing consulting, and you got plans for 2026 to grow all this. I'm just super excited for you, man. You're doing great work.
I appreciate it very much.
Um, we are at about an hour and 20 minutes. I want to respect your time. And is there anything that I haven't touched upon or that you'd like to share that you thought of that I glossed over?
I think we covered quite a bit today.
Do you want to talk about what you don't have to go into any detail at all, but 2026 goals, maybe 2026 predictions, being that it's New Year's Eve and 2026 is upon us? At the beginning of the pod, I kind of prefaced the feeling that I feel like Bitcoin in various ways is sort of spring loaded for explosive opportunity, a lot of money that's looking for a home. They're finding the familiar metals, but really, you're going to ship that around and do your paper gold in China? I don't think so. So, predictions for 2026, goals of your own.
Whew, that's a that's a tough one, because
Bitcoin a million.
I I would have told you that Bitcoin being anywhere from 160 to 200K was a sure thing for this year. I thought that
Easy.
was like I thought it was like just it's already been written. How could it not?
Yeah.
Um, and being this caught caught flat-footed like this, you know, I don't even know where to throw a prediction for
Uh-huh.
next year. All I know is, the hay's in the barn. It is like, I mean, the catalysts are there. We just need the spark. And where that
Yeah.
spark comes from, I don't know. Could be a big nation state that comes out and says we're stacking aggressively.
Yeah.
It could be Sailor just manufacturing this squeeze like he's doing, just buying up, week
Right.
after week, and another, Mag 7 coming in and saying that they're allocated. I don't know. There's just it's crazy times. If you see, also the precious metals, if you see people start, using retail as their exit liquidity to roll into Bitcoin. I don't know. There's so many different ways this could happen.
Absolutely. There's that metaphor or meme of like, the big TradFi dam, and there's that pool of money, and there are cracks, and it's leaking and spewing, and in places it's like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's not going away. Can we plug it? No. Oh, shit. I feel like there could be one of a number of many things that blow that open, and then it's like, don't be last. There's almost a geostrategic angle on this, where nation states don't want to be last, or corporations don't want to be last, or they didn't want to be first. Maybe they didn't want to be second or third, but they sure as hell don't want to be last. And at the same time, because economies can remain irrational longer than your bankroll can support, it's like you want to stay humble, stack sats. You don't want to get over leveraged. Bitcoin has a habit of kicking gamblers in the diapers. And so you feel that FOMO, or like, oh, it's low, I want to stack now. I feel it.
Yeah.
Like I felt a year ago, and could have wrecked myself, but it's like, stay humble, keep stacking. And in that regard, it's been people be like, oh man, the Bitcoin price all year, what a grind. I'm like, you know what? Knowing what we know to be inevitable, I feel kind of blessed that I just was able to stack more while it was sub million or sub 100,000. Basically, it's going to work out well. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff that could really break loose. 2026 may be the year. Also, if you think about to call it like a bear market, which, in the cycle theory, where like, oh, well, this time of the cycle, yeah, it's going to do this. So there's a psychology behind the cycle, and retail feeling like, well, I'm going to wait and whatever, or I'm going to pull out now. I'm going to wait for the cycle. I'm going to time it. As far as a bear market goes, it's the most shallow, sort of narrow bear market we've ever seen. So it's not like we've ridden it down 70% before. Like, we've seen this before, and actually this ain't so bad all in all. So I feel good about it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like you said earlier, it goes up, yay. It goes down, yay. Like I'm like, the conviction is there. So it doesn't matter what it does to me. Number go up, it's fun. Number go down, stack sats, back up the truck. It's win-win.
And someday people may not think of Bitcoin in terms of a dollar price. It may just be the money or the asset we have. And it's like, oh yeah, that dollar, that lasted 120 years. Whoop-de-doo, Anyway. So, well, on that note, I wish you a happy new year. This has been great. It was really great to have you. For people that want to find you, you are on X. I will bring up your X feed here. You can be found at bit_Doug. Prolific on X, a good follow you there. You have your book, your Substack. Let me bring that up here. This is your latest article on Substack. Getting Off Zero on Substack. You can follow you there. You can get the book on Amazon.com easily enough. Getting Off Zero, you'll find the book. You can also go to your website. Let me go to the top of that. Just getting all your things out there because you got something going on. Gettingoffzero.com will redirect you to a site you have where you can also get the book, contact for consultation information if you're needing guidance and you'll want a little one-on-one step-by-step practical guide. It's all there. So anyway, you got a lot going on. I'm really proud of you, excited for what is coming for you in 2026. And Doug, thanks for joining me, and have a good, happy new year.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everybody.